All right, welcome to PHP 101. This is going to be a very gentle introduction to PHP, and it's going to be centered around WordPress. Okay, so if you've never worked in PHP before, or you've been customizing themes, and PHP just is a pain for you. You don't understand it. You're not quite sure, oh, why does this happen? How do I concatenate strings? What does this mean? What does that mean? How do I pass data around? What happens when I include files? Why do I need to do that? Right? Why do I have to name something in a certain way? Well, what's an array? All of these things. Well, we're going to answer those things as we go through and get you just gently introduced to PHP. The goal is to be able to help you that if you're customizing, right, that's all you want to do. You don't want to dive really, really deep into programming. You just want to know enough that you can customize and get projects out the door, and that's it. Well, this will help you with that. If you want to really know PHP, well, this is a nice gentle introduction to just get you started. Okay. Now, the very first thing that we want to do is make sure that you've got a sandbox site all spun up and ready to go. So we're going to do that here together. If you already have one ready to go, then you can just go ahead in this video and move on. And if you don't, work with me here. I'm going to show you how to start it up, what to install, and to get you ready to do this lab. Ready? Okay, so I'm using Desktop Server, and you can go get the free. It's absolutely free. Go get the free version of this and download it, and then you can use it too. Okay? So I use Desktop Server. This is what runs the little web server here on your computer because we're not hosting it out there on the internet, right? So on the internet with a website such as the Know the Code website, this is hosted out there in the internet land. Okay, so on that web host, they have web servers. So they have software called Apache running on that. And then they have the MySQL database. That database management system, that's a piece of software. Same as Apache, a piece of software. So what we're doing is emulating what is running out there on the web host. You're emulating it here so that you can do local professional web development. You can do it very, very quickly here with Desktop Server. You can use anything though. You can use MAMP, WAMP, BVV, right? You just want to have an appliance so that you can spin something up. So if you have something else, then go ahead and get it spun up, and then I'll walk you through that, how we want to set up your WordPress sandbox environment after you get it spun up here. Okay, so what we're going to do is just click Next. And then here, we want to put some sort of name in there. Now, you can just call it Sandbox. I'm going to call it PHP Sandbox. You can call it whatever you want. And you can see my blueprint here, I already have just plain old WordPress. You can also do just a non-WordPress. So if we were just going to teach nothing but PHP, I would just do a non-WordPress website. But I want to go and take a look at WordPress and some of the themes and so on so that I can make it relatable to you as we look at actual code. So we're just going to go ahead and install this WordPress website with the 4.7.2. That's the latest right now. And let's go ahead. We're just going to create, and it just takes just a couple of minutes here. You can see I just did that. It's creating the source file. It's adding in that virtual host. It did the database for us. It restarted, and it's done. Okay, watch this. I click Next. Next, I'm done with Desktop Server. Let it keep running. Then what we want to do is we want to go and say PHP sandbox.dev. Okay, that's what we called it. When it spins up, now you just go ahead and go through that normal installation, that 5-minute installation that they talk about. I'm going to call this PHP 101 Sandbox for my website. Okay, once you've got everything filled out, click Install. There we go. Okay, so now it's all ready and installed. Let's take a look at the theme that we have. So we have 2017 theme in there. I'm also going to go ahead and put Genesis in here. So if you're used to playing with Genesis, that will be loaded in here too. We'll take a look, and we are going to look at 2017, and we're going to look at Genesis. So it's up to you which one that you want to look at, but I just want to show you different types of code. The more code you look at, the better it's going. all of a sudden what ends up happening is it starts making sense. And you do that by doing a couple of things. One is actually getting in the code and playing with it and breaking stuff and going, okay, why did I just break that? And then learning the reason why. Two is to read a lot of code. So I'm going to show you a lot of examples in this. Okay, so just hold on one sec as I set this up. Okay, so then when I go and I refresh, now I have Genesis in there, and I'm just going to activate just the sample theme. Okay, and there's nothing that I need to do here. I'm just going to leave all that the same. Okay, next, what do we want to do? Well, you know what? I use a plugin that allows us to use something called Kint and Whoops. Okay, if you haven't gone through the initial setup for your local environment, then you might not know what those are. Okay, well, we're going to use those in this lab, so you're going to want them. Okay, if you go over to the Help Center, hold on just one sec, I'll pull that up. So here in the Help Center, I'm going to go down to Getting Started. It scrolls down, and here, Setting Up Your Sandbox Test Site. And then I open this up, and it walks through and talks about how do you do that. Okay, has the links here for you. Here's what I'm talking about. These are debug tools. Kint, Whoops, and Query Monitor. You want to get used to using these when you're developing. Okay, if you just get in the habit, my goodness, you're going to love these. And they're just debug tools. Okay, here, listen to me. You only use them when you're developing. Once you push it to your customer, once you give it and deploy it to your customer, you don't give them these tools. Okay, they're not for live sites. All right, so to be able to get these, you can use my UpDev Tools, which is a developer suite that I built. Okay, and it has all the stuff built into it. Or you can just install this plugin here just to get Kint and, don't worry about Whoops. Or you can go build your own. And here's the link where you can go build that lab. Okay, so you can do either or. Matter of fact, if we went over and we clicked on that, you can see here's that lab that you can go through. Steps you through step by step by step and shows you how to actually build this for yourself. It's pretty simple, but it gives you the ability to see, oh, that's how easy it is to build a little plugin. Yeah, really easy. Okay, so for this one, let's see, what might we do? Well, if you wanted to install the Kint PHP Debugger, right here, this is mine, and you could use that. If you want to use, I'm going to go back now. If we want to use the UpDev Tools, there it is right there. Okay, so this is UpDev Tools, and it goes in and it explains to you how to install. If you're not comfortable doing this, you don't have Composer, you don't have Git installed on your machine, and you just still want to go through this lab, and this is just like way over your head, and please, Tanya, don't make me use this. Well, don't. Just go and just use this. Matter of fact, here, if you just copy this, watch this. And then we come over and, hey, I tell you what, I'm not going to use that because that might be over your head. Okay, let's just stick with something easy. Maybe that's the best thing to do. So if I come over here into plugins and I go and say, okay, show me that. Here it is right here. See, it's got my name on it. Just go and install. There you go. Activate it. And now you've got that in there. That's all you had to do. Just that simple. So do that right now. Get that in there because when I say do a D or do a DDD, that's what I'm talking about. And I'll point that out as we go through. Next step, go to Settings, Permalinks. Let's set our permalinks. I'm just going to go with post name. That sounds pretty good to me. And then I'll say Save Changes. Okay, so go ahead and do that too for me. All right, we're not going to change anything else. And if we went and opened this up, let's see what we've got. Yeah, it's a pretty ugly little site. It's whatever theme you want to use. So if you just give me one moment, I'm going to clean up the widget area. Since I switched that, see, it's got to get switched down into here. So let me just drag these down here. Boom, there we go. And if I refresh, pretty simple. So that's all that you need. That's it. To be able to do stuff. And if we were to open up the code, let me show you the code here in just one sec. Okay, I'm using an editor, which is actually called an IDE. That's an integrated development environment. That's what IDE means, okay? And I'm using PHP Storm. You can use TextMate, text editor, Sublime Text, whatever. NetBeans, Eclipse. Gosh, there's a lot of them that you could use. I like PHP Storm because it makes me very, very, very efficient, which means it saves me money and time and reduces my time and cost to be able to put websites together. It's completely integrated, gives me everything that I need. Okay, so that's why I use it. I'm very fast in it, and I love it. Absolutely love it. I used to use Sublime Text. And back when I used to do robotic systems and such, I used Visual Studio. Yes, I have used NetBeans, and I've used TextMate, and I've used Eclipse, and I just was never efficient in those. I found Eclipse and NetBeans very buggy, and I ended up fighting with it more than letting it actually work for me. Okay, so if I open this up, you can see in WP-content, we've got this one plugin, right? Themes. Well, this is where if you're going in and playing and not playing, but you're going in and actually writing some code, right? You're trying to customize. Maybe you're changing some of the styles. This is where you're working at. This is the one out of StudioPress. It's the Genesis sample theme. And if we were to use 2017, that would be here. So if I open up functions.php, ta-da, what's this? This is all PHP, every single line of it right here. Okay, so we're going to dig into that. We'll talk about what PHP is here in the next episode.